Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this Acer Predator Helios 300. Alright, so first thing, of course, make sure your computer's off. Then we're going to flip it over. Let's see the actual model number here. Let's see if there's an actual 300 series and model number N17C1. The actual model is PH315-51-78NP. Alright, so again, first thing we're going to do is remove all the screws from the bottom using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. The way I do that, I put them with the flat side down on my desk. Might have to use a magnet to pull these screws out. Huh, does the screw actually stay in there? It looks like that screw stays in. Interesting. Alright, well, let's go ahead and continue. There we go. So that screw comes out. So I'll put them with the flat side on my desk like this. Alright, in the pattern I remove them. So here I would do like 4 in a row, and then I would go across and do that. Whichever helps you remember it best. Alright. You don't have to do it the same way I do it. I don't know why this screw is stuck in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, I had to just unscrew it some more. 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're just going to remove all these screws. If this video helps you, make sure to like and subscribe and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to fix their devices or upgrade them. Alright, if this video helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel so that I can continue doing this for a living. I do these computer repairs for a living, but as I do them more and more, as more models get uploaded and as more people find my videos, I actually lose actual repairs. So I'm slowly converting my actual repairs over to YouTube pretty much. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay, so this one's going to be pretty confusing because there's so many all like going all over the place. But I'm going to try and do it in a pattern that I can remember. Whatever pattern helps you remember, just do that. Alright. So I'm actually going to remove these all as if they're all in the same row, even though it's kind of going up and down, up and down. Okay. This one. Alright. If your computer's having issues turning on, like it's just staying black screen or something, there's a little reset pinhole here that you can use a needle or a small pin to press and hold for 10 to 15 seconds. And sometimes that will, if it is like a temporary issue with the board, that should fix that. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay, so it's there. Alright, once you get these screws out, we can lift these covers up. So let's go ahead and pop this out. If you're just trying to, that's interesting, there we go. So this cover shouldn't be stuck to that like how it was earlier. That was kind of weird, but there we go, we got that cover off. So if you wanted to just upgrade the RAM, you only have to remove that one screw there. Then you pull these two tabs to the side, and then the RAM will pop up, you can pull it out. And this is PC4-2666V RAM, so you can use any PC4-2666V RAM that you want. There's an 8 gig stick. You can get 2 16 gig sticks if you want. I'm going to leave the RAM in there because it's not going to prevent me from opening up and taking apart the computer. So we're going to leave that. Alright, let's go ahead and open this door. Same thing with this little thing. Just pry it up just like that. We got the 2.5-inch SATA hard drive here. So let's go ahead and disconnect the hard drive from here. Alright, again, there's 4 screws holding this in place. Let's go ahead and remove those 4 screws. Right, you want to be careful with this because this connector here is just like a little thin cable that goes through underneath here. So you don't want to just yank it up, or you can actually break that cable. Okay, now that we got those 4 screws out, we're going to use this little foil kind of thing to lift the hard drive up. Alright, so carefully lift this, and then we're going to undo this connector here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show this. Okay, so we're going to disconnect that connector while it's still in here like that. Alright, so I'm using my thumb right at the connector here. Here you can see it's separating. Once you get a gap there, you can actually push from there. All right, and then we're gonna slowly lift this up while kind of pushing the connector off. There we go. So there's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. You can use any 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. You can upgrade this to a 2.5-inch SATA SSD if you want. This is a 2 terabyte, but your model might be different depending what you have. All right. So on some models they don't even use this slot, but on this one they're using the slot to store more data as well as an SSD internally. So let's go ahead and remove the last remaining screws at the bottom here. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's remove these last 5 screws. Okay, now that we got these last few screws out, we're gonna have to pop the bottom cover off. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. Trying to see how this thing fits together. Let's go ahead and open the screen slightly. So you can actually see there's the gap right here. So actually it's at the very edge of the palm rest assembly here. So you actually don't need to open the screen to get to that. I'm going to use my fingernails, but you can use plastic pry tools or whatever works for you and get into that gap there. Once I get in that gap, I use my thumb on the back to push while I pull with my fingernails. All right, just like this. Again, you can use pry tools, but I find this works the best. So we're just gonna go all the way around following that seam. Okay, we're gonna go to the side edge as well. Same thing. All right, let's see if we can get, oops, sorry, I'm going out of view. This one's a little bit tricky to get under. Let's see if we can go under this side a little bit easier. This side's a little bit tough. Okay, so I'm gonna push this part through here while I kind of get my fingernails in there. There we go. Then we can turn around the corner. And we go. We're popping up the cover. Then let's, now that we can hold this part separate a bit more, we can go ahead and see if we can get under this side. Okay. Go around that corner edge there. And there we go. Popping that up. You want to be very careful where they have these ports because the plastic is more fragile, but we're basically just going all the way around. Okay, let's go around this side. Okay, most of it's coming out. Let's see here. Okay, so to get this side out, you want to get your fingernail or pry tool under here while you're kind of pulling this up, as you can see. Okay. Alright, I'm going to have to put this down a little bit so I can work on it and not drop it. Okay, so we're just going along the back. We got most of it, so maybe we can kind of wiggle this to pull it out. It's pretty loose here. Alright, it looks like just this side edge here is kind of stuck. Yep, just this one side edge is stuck here. Okay, so I'm going to try and get my fingernails under this area. Here we go. That was the last clip there. Now we can go ahead and lift this cover off. Alright, so here you can see not really much underneath. We're going to set that aside. Alright, so the customer was saying their fan was running pretty hot. This thing looks okay, so I'm not too sure why their computer would be running hot. I do see an issue with their battery. Their battery is a little bit bulged and inflated here. Battery model number is AC14B8K. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Alright, so let's see. I don't know if I should take all this stuff apart or not. He was telling me that when it runs hot, the keyboard, for some reason, one of the keys gets sticky or something, or it gets stuck. So let's go ahead and see what's going on underneath here, because that doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm peeling this adhesive up. We're going to undo the screws holding the battery in place. So there's 2 screws here that I see. One there and one there. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these 2 screws. I don't know if those are only screws, but let's see. All right, once we got those 2 screws out, let's see if we can lift the battery slightly up. Yes, we can. right? Once you lift it up, you can pull the battery out slightly this way, and then now we can pull it back over that way. Let's see about disconnecting the battery. So I'm gonna grab the wings and just wiggle the battery connector, just like that. There we go. So yeah, this battery's kind of inflated. I'm gonna clean the dust off over to the trash can next to me. Okay. Wow, that stuff is just stuck on there, so I don't know. Well, whatever. It's still kind of dusty, but it's better. All right, so here you can see, let's zoom out a bit more. You got the speaker connected here, which runs all the way along this way. Okay, so let's see. And then the speaker wire actually connects right there. So both wires go down and then split off right there. All right, you got the keyboard backlight cable here. Got the keyboard connector. You got the trackpad connector, I'm pretty sure. Yep. I don't know if the battery damaged this cable because it's swelling. Maybe it's pushing on this cable and damaged the keyboard cable. Hopefully not, because that would suck. Then you got, I don't know if there's an LED indicator or not. I don't really see, I don't see like a light on there, so I'm not really sure what this little piece is for here. You got the BIOS or Cmos battery here. All these connectors, they have like these little wings you can kind of wiggle and pull it back. These ones have these tabs that you can pull. One thing I should mention, after removing the battery, it's always good to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. This makes it a lot safer to work on. There's a lot less risk that you'll damage the motherboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do that. I'm gonna check and see about redoing the thermal paste, but I don't know if that's gonna help. Because we did the thermal, I think the customer had me do the thermal paste. It might have been this model or a different model, but about a year ago. So it's kind of weird that it would go bad so soon. But anyways, let's go ahead and keep looking. So we got this cable here for the USB and the audio jacks here, as well as these indicator lights. You got the charge port, DC jack. This one you should be able to, yeah, you can just pull it out, up. All right, so charge port goes along here and it plugs in down here. So same thing, you grab the wings, wiggle and pull it back. All right, this one, same thing, has this little flip latch. Same as the, oh, I didn't demonstrate that, but same as the trackpad cable here, it has these little flip latches. You can flip these latches up and then you can pull the cable out. And then this one has these little wings that you pull to release the cable, and then you can pull the cable out, but I don't want to pull the cable out, so I'm gonna leave that in there. All right, you got an M.2 SSD here. This looks like a PCIe NVMe. Let me confirm. Yes, it is PCIe NVMe. They have the little logo or PCIe NVMe thing there. All right, there's just one screw. Once you take that out, it pops up slightly like the RAM, and then you can pull it out. I'm not going to do that. There's LCD LVDS connector here. Has this little pull tab. Usually you would pull this. A lot of times it doesn't come out easily, so what I have to do is I pop up the edge. Again, I'm not going to mess with that because the only thing we're worried about is why it's overheating. Let's see what else. You got the fan connectors here, so 2 fan connectors. I'm going to check and try and blow this out and see if there's dust. It doesn't look too dusty, so I'm doubting it, but we'll find out. Then you got the wireless card here with the 2 wireless antennas. The antennas are a little bit fragile, so you don't want to mess with them too much if you don't have to, but you pop them up from the tail. Like you just grab the tail and then pull it straight up like this. And then to put it back, you want to be very careful. Make sure that it's lined up 100%. Right? Once you got it lined up 100%, you can go ahead and click that down into place. All right, so there we go. All right, I think that's pretty much all there is to show in this computer, or that I'm going to show. All right, there's also the trackpad if you need to replace it. There's one screw here holding this bracket, and then I think you can pop this out, but again, I don't want to mess with stuff that I don't need to work on. All right, so I'm gonna try cleaning out these fans. I'll be back, and then we'll see. I'll probably redo the thermal paste as well, just to be safe, since it's been working for quite a while. Maybe for some reason the thermal paste needs to be redone, but it might just be that the fan's clogged with dust. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm basically just gonna get a toothbrush, brush off the propellers, though the propellers don't look that bad, and then I'll use an electric air blower to blow dust, or the dust, through this way. All right, I'll see you guys later. All right, so I'm back. I cleaned off the bottom cover, though it wasn't really dusty. Maybe the customer already cleaned that up. So the fans also I cleaned and didn't really seem to have much dust. So it looks like next thing we're gonna focus on is the thermal paste. So let's go ahead and remove all these screws. I don't remember, I'm pretty sure I redid the thermal paste for him. But anyways, let's go ahead and remove these screws and we'll see what it looks like underneath. I don't know if sometimes it could be people block the ventilation and that's what causes it to get hot, not so much the cooling setup. So I don't know, we'll find out. All right, so we're gonna remove the 3 screws holding down the heatsink over the GPU, and then the 4 screws holding the heatsink down over the CPU here. Okay. We'll see, because if I look at this and the paste is still like good, then I don't know what I would do. It might be a software issue, not so much the hardware. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove all these. There we go. So we got all those screws out. Let's go ahead and lift this up. Oh, it's stuck on there pretty strong with all these heat pads and everything. So I'm gonna have to be careful and lift it slowly. Let's see, do we have to remove screws for the fans? Probably. So let's go ahead and remove the fan screw up in this corner here. Okay, and then the other one down in this corner here. I'm likely going to have to disconnect all the, yeah, let's go ahead and disconnect the fan cables as well. Let me zoom in to make this easier to see. So of course you want to peel up the adhesives. Okay, and then we're going to grab the wings of the connector here and we're just going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you go, pops out pretty easily. Same thing with the one down here, just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you go, it pops out. Be very careful not to damage the hard drive cable there. Okay, as you can see, it's somewhat in the way. All right, so now we got all those cables. Here you can see, oops, let's zoom out a little bit. Actually, let's zoom out a lot. Oops, not that much. Okay, so here you can see now that this piece is loose. We can kind of lift it, but this part is stuck down pretty strong. So we're gonna slowly lift at this corner where it's kind of solid, and then here, and see if we can kind of lift it. Okay, that lifted. Let's go ahead and lift this side now. Again, you want to go very slowly. There we go. You don't want to just yank it out. Okay, that's definitely not my thermal paste job, so somebody else did this. Wow, that doesn't look good. I don't use this kind of thermal paste, and I don't use this crazy amount. So somebody else must have done this. That's definitely, I don't use this kind of paste. I use icy diamond. So that's pretty bad. They had the paste go all over these little, I don't know if those are capacitors or what they are, but the GPUs will usually have that. And then this one's like way overflowed. So anyways, I'm going to use some paper towels, and I'm going to also use a little plastic scrapey tool and scrape all this stuff off and wipe it out. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, just get a small piece of paper towel here. All right, and then I'm just going to use this tool to kind of scrape off all that gunk. Again, that's way too much. Maybe they tried doing it after it was overheating to see, I don't know. Because the paste does seem like it's not very solid, so that means it didn't dry up or anything. So we're just going to clean off all this stuff like that, okay? Yeah, this is way too much. You never want to have this much paste all over. Okay, especially if your paste is conductive. This one looks like it might be a ceramic paste, so maybe it's okay, I don't know. But if your paste is like silver, probably then you can actually damage your computer if it gets into the electronics, like, I don't know, these little areas there can get damaged. But let's go ahead and scrape off what we can. Okay, just scrape it all up. There we go, we got that out. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the GPU. You want to be very careful because you don't want to damage those little raised bump things there. Okay, so I'm just going around them. After that, I'll clean those off with a toothbrush. Wow, that's a lot of paste that they put on here. I mean, it's a lot of paste, so it should have been cooling okay. Though, again, you don't want to overflow it, because what happens is the paste will absorb the heat and it will just hold it on the sides here instead of transferring it to the heatsink. Okay, so I don't know about this one. There's not much room to work here. I'm just gonna have to use the paper towel to clean it up. Alright, so now that we got most of that paste off, let's go ahead and use the paper towel to kind of wipe it. Wipe it up. Try and get in the little edges and grooves here. Oh, that's weird. What happened to the center of this GPU die? That's really weird. I think his GPU got toast. So the GPU might be bad, actually. From looking at it, there's a line going right over across from the whole thing. Okay, well, let's try and just get up as much as we can. Let's go ahead and clean off the CPU as well. CPU is a lot easier to clean because it's all smooth. Alright, clean that off as well. Yeah, it might have gotten, looks like it might have gotten damaged. So there's that. Stuff is all kind of clouded right there. Okay, I'm going to try cleaning it up a tiny bit more before I use the toothbrush. Okay, so we got most of it off. Now you can use like a toothbrush and just kind of scrub that stuff out. Usually it's good to hold the board upside down when you do this so that all this thermal paste dust just falls off. I'm just going to use an air blower and blow it all away. Okay, so once you get it all cleaned up, there we go. Let's go ahead and use the air blower and blow away any of that thermal paste dust. Okay, now that we've got that, we're going to use another piece of paper towel with some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I just use 91%. Get the alcohol in there and then use that to clean off the die. Okay, just like this. Go, same thing over here. Okay, now that the CPU and GPU are all cleaned up, if you want, you can go around the edges too. Okay, blow off any lint. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with the... Oh, let me move this stuff aside. We're going to do the same thing with the heatsink now. Okay, so we got the heatsink right here. We're going to clean all that stuff off as well. So I'm just going to hold this over a trash can and then wipe it with a paper towel. Okay. Alright, I'm going to do this off camera and I'll be back. Alright, I'll pause the video and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So I cleaned off the majority of it. Now I'm going to get the paper towel with the rubbing alcohol on it. And we're just going to try and clean up the remaining residue here. Okay. Just like this. This one's pretty gross. Let's use the other side of the paper towel. Alright. There we go. We got most of it off. We'll use the dry side now and dry it up. There we go. Get the lint off. Alright, and let's go ahead and reapply the thermal paste now. So let's get the board back up here. Okay. Into view, get that centered. Alright, let's go ahead and get the thermal paste. So to do this, you're going to want to put like the size of a grain of rice. Alright, so let's go ahead like this. You don't want too much, okay? You don't want it overflowing all over the place like how they had it earlier. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to assemble it into a mound. Get a little bit more there. There we go. And the reason we do this is so when we put the heatsink on top, it will actually spread it out into a thin layer. Okay, and it won't, it'll push all the bubbles to the outside. So if it traps any pockets of air, it will push them all towards the outside of the heatsink or of the CPU and GPU dies. Okay, so there we go. That one's good. Let's go ahead and do the GPU now. Same thing. This one's a little bit bigger, so you want to put a little more. Also similar, about like a grain of rice, but a little more. Oops, I forgot to turn off my notifications. Give me a second, I'll do that real quick. Alright, I'm back. So here you can see, basically same thing, bigger grain of rice size, like a longer grain of rice, I guess. Again, you kind of want it piled in the middle. Just like that. It's a little too far over to one side. Okay, so there we go. Set that aside. Let's zoom out. Let's go ahead and put back the heatsink. Okay. Alright, oh, I'm getting more messages. Let me pause those real quick. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the heatsink back on. So just get it lined up. Alright, you want to make sure everything is lined up before you drop it down. Okay, oh, I see, okay. So make sure you get the screw holes. The most important part is getting the screw holes lined up. If you want, you can line up the fan screw hole here first, and then you can like take one screw and put that screw in. Alright, that will ensure that you only have one point to worry about when you rotate it. I just lightly put the screw in, you don't want to tighten it all the way down. Make sure these connectors end up on top. Right, then we're going to slowly lower it down on the CPU side, making sure that the screw mounts line up properly. Okay. Here we go, just like that. Okay, I'm going to loosely fit the other screw here just so it doesn't move around. Alright, now we're going to look at this, and they label it so you know which one to put first. So let's see here. Oh, the labels kind of got etched off, it looks like. Okay, 3, 4, 5, let's see, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're gonna get screw number 1. Let me zoom in here to show this a little bit better. So screw number 1 goes right here. I'm gonna twist it backwards till I hear a click, and then go 1, 2. All right. Screw number 2 is in this corner here. Same thing. Click 1, 2. All right. Then screw number 3 is in this corner down here. All right. Click 1, 2. Then screw number 4 is right here. Click 1, 2. All right. I'm gonna go up here to screw number 5. Click 1, 2. All right. Then screw number 6. All right. It's over here. Click 1, 2. All right. And screw number 7. Click 1, 2. Now we're gonna go back over them all again. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to tighten it all the way down. Okay, just tighten that all the way down. Tighten this all the way down. All right, tighten this one all the way down. Tighten this one all the way down. Tighten this one all the way down. All right, this one. And last one here. All right, let's go ahead now and tighten the 2 screws holding the fan in place. So we got this one here. Okay, and this one up here. Let's go ahead and reconnect the fans. Get that into place. Okay, and then just pinch the 2 wings and pull it back in. There we go. And we got this one here. That into place. All right, and then just push that in. There we go. Then we're going to put back the battery. Let's zoom out here. Okay, battery's about there. All right, so just like before, you can actually plug the battery connector in first. All right, just get it all lined up. Make sure you have it the right side up. You don't want to twist the cable upside down and put this, so the metal showing pin should be face down. All right. Okay, let's get this connected in, line it up, and then pinch the 2 pieces together, just like that. There we go. Now we're going to take the battery. Again, we're going to slide it slightly forward here, and then slowly slide it back down. Again, this battery's inflated and bulged a bit, so most likely we need to get that replaced. I'll let the customer know, and they can decide what they want to do. Right? Once you get the battery all lined up and in place, then you can go ahead and drop this back down. You can put the tape back on if you want. All right. We're going to put back the 2 screws here. Here you can see this, the bulging battery is kind of pushing on here and here, not so much over the keyboard cable, so it's probably not affecting it. All right, let's get the 2nd screw in. Go, perfect. Let's go ahead and get the bottom cover back on top. Just line it all up. All right, and then you can go ahead and push it down and click everything into place. Let me actually zoom out. Oops, way too far. All right, now we're just going to click everything back into place. Make sure to get all these side edges and everything as well. Okay, double check. Look over all the edges, make sure everything looks good. Everything looks good. All right. Here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and put the hard drive back in. So make sure you get it lined up the right way. The smaller side of the connector goes over this side, and this foil faces up. All right, this cable could be a little bit tricky to put in because you have to kind of line it up with not much room. But once you get it, get one side and go ahead and push the other, and then kind of push the entire thing. It's best to kind of hold it and then push the hard drive forward, so that way you don't accidentally yank the cable out that way. All right. Then we'll drop the hard drive into place. Make sure it lines up. Okay, and let's go ahead and put the hard drive screws back in. All right, there's only 4 screws holding this hard drive again. Put them all back. Okay. Pretty much done. We're basically just going to put the little covers and everything back in place. Okay, hard drive cover. Make sure the screw is going back up in this corner. So we're gonna put this side first, all right? And then you kind of have to sometimes flex this a little bit with this side up. You can go ahead and push it down. There we go. Same thing with the RAM cover. All right, this screw goes to this side. All right, get that lined up. Push this back in first at an angle. All right, then get this side down and then work your way over. There we go. All right, so now that all that's left is to put back all the screws. You're welcome to stay while I put them all back, but you should be pretty self-explanatory. Right, anyways, again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my video with others, or not my video, but my channel, so that way they can learn how to work on their devices. All right, again, if this video helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel so that I can continue making these videos for a living. All right, YouTube does help a little. I do these computer repairs for a living. This is like my actual computer repair business. So yeah, but anyways, we're gonna just put back all the rest of the screws. Okay, just like this. That's pretty much all there is to this. So yeah, and welcome to stay again. But I'm sure you got it from here. Alright. That's a few screws. Alright, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Let's drop this.